We see them all over social media. Intimate, candlelit dinners with 30 of the couple's closest friends, looking utterly flawless and stress-free. But the aesthetic you see online rarely matches the logistical reality behind the scenes. Shrinking your guest list to 30 people does not automatically scale down the stress of planning, nor does it guarantee a proportionately cheaper event. A small wedding represents a complete reallocation of your resources. You are taking the time and money normally spread across a wide group of acquaintances and concentrating it to create a deep, highly curated experience for a few. To achieve that level of personalization, you have to trade away the traditional social validation of a massive crowd. You are deliberately choosing exclusion over inclusion. Before you sign a single vendor contract, you have to make a definitive choice. The return on investment for an intimate evening has to heavily outweigh the social cost of leaving people out. Making that choice requires knowing exactly what kind of event you're actually hosting. The wedding industry regularly lumps all small events together, which creates massive logistical confusion. Let's build a decision tree. First, the elopement, 0 to 5 guests, focused on adventure. Next, the mini-moni, under 10 people, serving as a prelude to a larger future wedding. Finally, the micro-wedding, a self-contained event strictly capped between 10 and 50 guests. Unlike an elopement or a mini-moni, a micro-wedding still contains all the components of a standard wedding. You still have a ceremony, a cocktail hour, a reception, and a strict timeline. It is just highly compressed. Because it retains that full structure, choosing the micro-wedding container means you have to treat it with the exact same logistical respect you would give to a 150-person ballroom event. Hosting 150 or more people is the standard way to satisfy familial obligations and cultural expectations. It is safe and it keeps everyone happy. A micro-wedding demands a hard cap. You are isolating the guest list to a maximum of 30 VIP attendees. The direct result of that strict limit is the ability to have unhurried, meaningful conversations with every single person in the room. You actually get to sit and eat with your guests. But to get there, you have to make ruthless cuts. Dropping extended family and parents' friends will hurt feelings, burn social capital, and often cause immediate friction with traditional parents. And the format itself is fragile. If you invite 30 people and 3 of them don't show up, that absence visibly drains the kinetic energy of the room. Attendance becomes a high-stakes requirement. This friction extends directly into the budget. Couples often assume a smaller guest count means a tiny bottom line, but that depends entirely on whether you are trying to minimize costs or maximize the experience. Spread across 150 guests, a $20,000 budget stretches thin. Concentrated on 30 guests, your cost per head skyrockets. For an experience optimizer, that density is the goal. They take money saved on standard catering and fund premium upgrades, a private chef, a multi-day weekend, or an open bar. But here is the financial trap. While your overall cost ceiling might drop, you completely lose the economies of scale. A photographer, a DJ, and a wedding dress cost the exact same whether you have 20 guests or 200. Industry data shows that even basic, pre-packaged micro-weddings average $5,000 to $9,000 just to cover the bare logistical essentials, without any luxury add-ons. A micro-wedding is rarely a cheap alternative. It is a highly concentrated deployment of wealth. Couples looking for intimacy often gravitate toward non-traditional venues, places like botanical gardens, art galleries, or private backyards. The immediate financial appeal is obvious. You dodge the massive minimum spends of a traditional banquet hall while utilizing a space with a beautiful built-in aesthetic. But non-traditional inherently means non-equipped, requiring you to bring in massive amounts of heavy infrastructure. Sourcing, permitting, and coordinating generators drastically increases your burden. Managing bathroom trailers and lighting rigs means you suddenly have to act as a site manager. The thousands of dollars saved by avoiding a traditional venue fee are almost always immediately spent on the rentals and coordination required to make a raw space functional. Once the infrastructure is in place, the event itself looks different. Micro-weddings naturally strip away rigid formalities like grand entrances, speeches, and bouquet tosses, favoring the relaxed atmosphere of a high-end dinner party. Removing those traditional milestones removes the built-in schedule. The pacing of the evening now relies entirely on the organic, unpredictable energy of your guests. To keep the night moving without an MC enforcing a timeline, you have to dictate the flow through specific seating layouts, strategic lighting shifts, and deliberate music transitions. Designing an event that appears effortless and unstructured actually requires far more environmental engineering than a traditional, tightly scheduled reception. Successfully executing a micro-wedding ultimately comes down to an exercise in severe boundary setting. To determine if this format aligns with your priorities, we use this quadrant chart. The horizontal axis tracks budget focus, from savings to luxury. The vertical axis maps social tolerance. In the top right, the Experience Optimizer prioritizes spoiling 30 VIPs. High on the boundary setter axis sits the introverted couple, using a strict headcount as a protective measure. In the top left, the weekday pragmatist weds on a Thursday to secure top-tier vendors at a fraction of the cost. For these three specific profiles, the high experiential return justifies the exclusive format. But there are specific personality types that will struggle heavily under the constraints of this format. The people pleaser needs to avoid it entirely. If cutting the guest list causes you severe anxiety and family tension, that emotional fallout will completely erase any financial or aesthetic benefits. The party seeker should also look elsewhere. A headcount of 25 people mathematically cannot sustain the kinetic energy required for a packed dance floor that goes until 2 in the morning. A micro-wedding is the right choice, only if you are willing to spend your social capital to purchase this level of personal depth.